sour. Join us and come and waste an hour or two. We've got magic to do just for you. Welcome to Studio Tenn Talks. Good evening. Good evening. I'm Patrick Cassidy, and I am the artistic director of Studio Tenn, and welcome to Studio Tenn Talks. It is fall here in Tennessee, and I have to tell you, I've got my sweater on. It's the first sweater I have gotten to wear in 35, 36 episodes, I think, tonight. It's amazing, unbelievable. But it is beautiful here in Middle Tennessee. The sun is out, crisp, the leaves have changed, pumpkins are starting to rot, and we're starting to get to Christmas lights. I can't wait. It's an incredible time here. We have so much going on. It's such a great show in store. We have the Bourbon Sweepstakes that is going on right now. There it is, the Fall Barrel Bash. Tickets available right now. You can get a bottle of bourbon, a $1,200 bottle of bourbon by bidding on that. And there's other bourbons too. It's really great. We need whiskey. We need bourbon. It warms us up during the holidays. Remember that. And I don't drink. We also, just so you know, we do donation shout outs right at the beginning there at the bottom of your screen by clicking the donate button above and by messaging Studio Tenn Talks. Please make a donation. We make our living here by selling tickets to shows or donations. And right now we can't sell tickets to shows. So this is the only one. So please make a donation. That's the reason why we do Studio Tenn Talks. And that's the reason why these incredible people do it, because they want to help out the theater and they're my good friends. I want to get to our first guest. He is an incredible man. This gentleman is the theater critic in Middle Tennessee, covering the performing arts in Tennessee for over 35 years. Launched Dare, Tennessee's lesbian and gay news weekly, which later became known as Query in 1989. Mr. Ellis is the recipient of the Tennessee Theater Association's Distinguished Service Award for his coverage of theater in the volunteer state and was the founding editor-publisher of Stages, the Tennessee Onstage Monthly. An accomplished director himself, he helmed productions of Le Cage Feu, The Last Night of Ballyhoo, and The American Daughter, all there in Nashville premieres, and as well as the award-winning productions of Damn Yankees, Company, loved that show, Gypsy, loved that show, and Let's Do the Time Warp Again, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Please welcome Mr. Jeff Ellis. Hello,
hey,
Jeff.
Patrick. Hey, it's good to see you.
Welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
So tell me, Middle Tennessee. Well, first of all, before we get to Middle Tennessee, where did Jeff Ellis grow up?
I grew up in West Tennessee, near Memphis, in McNairy County, which is a very small rural area. Just north of the Mississippi line, and that's where I'm from.
And what was it like growing up right near the Mississippi line?
As you can imagine. And
actually, no, Jeff, I'm from California. I'm learning things new. My imagination is running wild since I've been here in the South.
I think that's what you need to do when talking about where I grew up. Yes, it was a very small town. I knew quite early on I needed to find my people and move away. And luckily, I learned how to read when I was very young, so that gave me a means of escape, and what is ultimately what led me to theater.
Oh, I get you. So then, where did you end up going to college?
I went to Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, and it was much smaller than it is now. It was about half the size that it is now, and it was great. It was a really wonderful place to go to school.
Did you major in English? Did you major
in journalism?
Oh, you did, which is rather apropos. And yes, I knew that you because we saw you were a ferocious reader, were you not?
Yes, yes.
And still are? Is that you
pretty much? Yeah.
You've changed to the pen or to the computer with typing.
Yeah, certainly. Right. Certainly. You know, it's so funny because I cannot handwrite anything anymore. It takes me forever to write a grocery list. So everything has to be done on a keyboard.
You and the rest of the country Nobody script is like unheard of. Like you're like an antique.
Exactly.
Like you grew up with Abraham Lincoln. If you know how to write script, it's a joke.
Exactly. They no longer teach it in school.
Now you told me a little story. This is true. So is it true that you were a fan of the Waltons and that John Boy Walton, the character that Richard Thomas played, was the reason you decided to become a writer? Is that true?
Sort of. I knew I wanted to be a writer, but growing up in a very small town in West Tennessee, you don't really know what route to take.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember seeing the Waltons, and I was probably a freshman in high school. And I thought I could identify with John Boy. And then when John Boy announced that he was going to college to major in journalism, I thought, oh, yeah, that's what I need to do. And so he did provide me with a roadmap to college.
Wow. Yeah. So we can add now, good night, Jeff Ellis. Good night,
exactly. Exactly.
Tell me about what you think right now the state of the theater is in Middle Tennessee. I mean, we know what the state of the theater is by and large because of the pandemic. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But what do you think even before the pandemic? What was the state of the theater like in Middle Tennessee?
We have a very vibrant theater community here. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people involved, a lot of creativity and inspiration to be found here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one thing people don't realize is that although there is a lot of theater happening in Middle Tennessee, we're not necessarily a theater town. And the reason I say that is because it's so hard for people to make a living making theater. And that's horrifying to me that they can't do it, but it's true. And until we reach that point where people can actually move to Nashville, get a job in the theater, and live, we will not be considered a theater city.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. I mean, it's one of the reasons I moved here to be a part of Studio Tenn, is that I'm hoping to bring as much theater that I can to Middle Tennessee, because, and I've said this before, if LA and Hollywood is sort of the epicenter of film and television, New York is the epicenter of theater, and Nashville is definitely the epicenter of music. Well, music and theater go together to form a thing called musical theater. So you would think that would be a huge part of Tennessee and Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing that
I've
found is that musicals, whether they're put on by a high school or a community theater group or professional theater, they're cut above in this area because this is such a center of music. And you go to other cities of similar size and similar theater communities, and you will find that their musical theater is not as good as it is here.
Wow.
And I think that's because so many people move here to make it in music. They apply their trade and get more experience by doing musical theater.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for Nashville to become a breeding ground for new musicals. It should be. It really should be.
I agree. Look at Jennifer. Do you see what she said? She said if she could hug you through the screen, she would. And I know she's not referring to me. Darn.
Now, so here's the thing about Jennifer. I have known her since she was a baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I met her when she was a baby.
She was probably a talented baby because she's a talented woman.
As I recall, she was doing production numbers on the dinner table.
And Howard Snyder said, yay, here for my two-time director at La Cage aux Folles Cabaret, the longtime friend, Mr. Jeff Ellis from Howard Snyder.
Well, that's nice, Howard. I will not say anything bad about him for once.
So here's an interesting question. So when I came here, I found out what a right-to-work state was. I didn't know what that was, right? And I get here. Now, I've been a member of Actors Equity since 1977. and loved it. I've been, and still am. But I came here and I found out about this right to work state. And of course, each theater company, the 4 professional theater companies, Children's Theater, the Rep, Shakespeare Festival, and us, we do equity contracts. But the truth is, there's not as many equity performers here as there are non-union performers, because it doesn't really pay for them to become equity performers, as you said, because there isn't enough work. Care to elaborate on that?
Well, that's always been the case here. There have been people, I think particularly for younger actors, they really aspire to be equity. And so they want to get that equity card any way they can. But the reality of having an equity card and living in Nashville, they're two diametrically opposed things. You cannot make a living. And so I've known people over the years who have left equity and been rejoined equity later if they were getting work. But there's just, the work is not here to support it, unfortunately.
So then this becomes a real interesting question. So as I said, 4 theater companies that are equity.
Right.
It doesn't, in a way, financially make a lot of sense for theater companies, therefore, to be equity, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's such a weird thing to me. Because what I've learned is, some of my friends in Los Angeles, my actor friends, say, "You're telling me that you can give me an equity contract?" I said, "Yeah, like that. I can give you an equity contract, and then you become, if you want, you can join the union."
Right.
Well, so many of the performers that live here and make a living here, they end up, we put them on an equity contract, but then they don't join the union because it pays better to be a non-union performer here working.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And there are more opportunities for people to work outside of a union house than there are opportunities to work in a union house. And so as a result, you tend to see the same people getting the equity contracts. And it's terribly unfortunate. And I don't know what the answer is. Well, the answer is to somehow, for theater companies, to find the way to get their share of the pie that has developed as Nashville has continued to grow over the years.
Right. So tell me how long you've been there's Kim Murray, who's got a couple of hearts your way. And tell me, well, first of all, how long have you been reviewing for Studio Tenn?
Gosh, how long has Studio Tenn been around? I think
we're in our 11th season.
Okay, well, for at least 10 years.
Wow. So
you did see the first production,
which was Our Town, that you didn't see, but then after that,
I think I've seen almost at least 90% of the shows.
And being the new kid on the block and the new person with the company, have you been kind to our productions?
I think I've been very kind.
Oh, good, good.
I've always, I feel like part of my job is to be a cheerleader for local theater. And I sometimes, think, well, I've cheered too loudly, and that's why all of these people come here thinking they can make a living. But I also feel like it's my job to be objective and to say when I don't like something, and if I said like something, to explain why I don't like it, and to offer fair and equitable criticism of what I'm seeing. I think as a critic in a market like this, it's my job to encourage people to go to the theater, and what I try to do is to let people know what they can expect to see. Yeah.
Well, that last Monday, we had on, the columnist for the New York Post for 20 years, Michael Riedel, who I've known for quite some time. And, he's been Some would say that he's the sort of Simon Cowell of the New York Post. He's been brutal to production and to certain actors at times. Thank God he hasn't done that to me over the years. But we had an incredible interview. And the one thing we talked about, and I want you to weigh in on this too, is that obviously during the pandemic, theater is going to sort of be the last thing to come all the way around, especially Broadway, because of the capacity they need but the ticket sales, he said, which was astoundingly depressing to me, that only 1% of the population can afford to see a Broadway show.
Wow. And
that we are the ticket sales, as you know, I mean, Hamilton, $1,000, $1,200 for a ticket, whatever it is. That has to go away. Do you believe that we have to, that because of this, that we have to go to another means of selling tickets?
I think that the key to the survival of theater and to satisfy the proliferation of new theater companies starting is getting people to come see their shows. And so many people view the tickets as being so overpriced that they don't give it any thought whatsoever about going to see a show. Mm-hmm. Now, in Nashville, you have audiences who go to TPAC for the Broadway series, who may then go to Studio Tenn or to Nashville Rep. A lot of people think of Nashville Children's Theater as being children's theater, so they think it's not for adults. Mm-hmm. They do some of the best stuff in town and always have. Mm-hmm. So the key is to find a happy medium where people can afford tickets, and for people to get the news of what's happening from outside of this bubble we've always found ourselves in, not just a socially distanced bubble that we're in now, but in this bubble of theater people who know everything that's going on. But even theater people can't afford to go see shows.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
There's got to be an answer.
Yeah, and hopefully, if anything good comes out of this, when we all do come back, that the ticket price will change and everybody will have a chance to experience the theater, because everybody's been phased out because of the ticket price. Give me one show before we sign off, Jeff. One show that you'd like to see Studio Tenn do.
Oh, wow.
Remember, we're small.
I understand. I would say Bright Star, the Steve Martin, Edie Brickell musical. Yeah. It's, I think local audiences would love it. It's really a heartfelt story that seems kind of out there for a lot of people. Yep. But almost everyone will identify with that show. I love it.
It was like you picked the perfect show. I couldn't agree more. It's on our list. I now have Jeff Ellis's recommendation. Boom. You're awesome. Hey,
do it.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing the show. Thank you for being the guy. I can't wait to now, get back and produce a show and have you come see us and shake your hand in person.
I look forward to it. Have a good rest of the evening.
You too. Thank you, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Jeff Ellis, what a pleasure to have him. And I can't wait for us, like I said, to get going and do a show so he can come review us so we can talk. There's Anna Perry. Hi, Anna Perry. Anna Perry's our choreographer. She's done a lot of stuff. Yes, Bright Star, Howard. It is on our list. Yes, Kim Murray. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. So, all right, this is going to be. I am so looking for this interview. I can't tell you how much. Let me tell you my history with this person. So, Malora Hardin is an actress. She's a dancer. She's a singer. She's a director, too. We're going to talk about that. She's best known for her roles on The Office, Jan Levinson, and Monk, Trudy Monk. She appeared as a recurring role on Amazon's critically acclaimed series Transparent, for which she was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award. Began her acting career with the 1977 television series Thunder, and has since appeared in more than 70 films and TV programs. Also a talented singer, Melora Hardin has released numerous albums to date, including All the Way to Mars and the Melora Drama. Broadway credits include Chicago, Roxie Hart, and Les Miserables. Please welcome, oh gosh, I'm so dying to talk to you. Please welcome my friend, longtime friend, Miss Melora Hardin.
Hi.
Oh my God. Okay, I said this during the tech. I said it to you over the phone, but I'm just going to say it now again. You're devastatingly beautiful, and you look great, and you haven't aged a day.
Wow, Patrick, you're so sweet.
You look so good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Considering everything, I'm great. You know what I mean? I can't complain.
Is this your home? This is your home where you are, yes?
Yes, yes. This is our den. Yes, and that behind me is the umbrella that signed by Donald Connor, Gene Kelly, and Debbie Reynolds that they used in their screen test for Singing in the Rain. Yes.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Where did you? Oh, my wife is chiming in. It says, "Hi, Malora. It's so wonderful to see you. I miss your pretty face." There she is.
Oh, hi, Melissa. Oh,
I had to do a shout out that you two danced in Alex Magno's class forever, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Oh my God. And Melissa is the most incredible dancer. It was always just mesmerizing to watch her.
Okay, honey, you just got Melora Hart saying that. Put that on your reel. It's there now. All right. I have so much to talk to you about. First of all, you have been acting since you were 6.
Since I was 6 years old. Yep. Professionally.
What was your first, do you remember or not? I'm sure it's in your resume. What was your very first job?
My very first job was a Peak toothpaste commercial. It's a toothpaste that is no longer being made.
I was going to say, I don't remember. I haven't used those.
Yeah. And I had to dance in front of a mirror with a doll and do this improv with this little mirror, dancing with the mirror with the doll. And I was, at that time, when I was 5 years old, my mom took me to the ballet and I thought I was going to be a ballerina. I mean, that was it. Like I started ballet right then and I never stopped. And so I was just obsessed with ballet. So the idea of dancing in front of a mirror with a doll was just, kind of a perfect entrance for me into the world of acting and
Well, you and I, we're going to talk about Dirty Dancing in a few minutes, but before that, you and I have a job. Well, we have a few other jobs in common. As we spoke briefly, we both did the same episode of Murder, She Wrote.
Right.
And which I vaguely remember because
I vaguely remember it as well. Yeah, I know. I don't remember.
I remember I got offered the job while I was on my honeymoon in the Napa Valley, and I said, sure, but I'm not coming back early. But yeah, that was it. But before that, and this is what you might not know. My very first job, I was not 6, but my very first professional job was a pilot called The Second Family Tree.
What?
And listen to this. And it was myself. It was the same people that did Family with Christy McNichol.
Yes, it was.
Right? And
Carol Newman, I remember, was the producer, writer, showrunner, I think.
That's right. And Gail Strickland was the mom.
Gail Strickland, that's right.
And Lee Montgomery was the boy. I forget who was the daughter. But anyway, that was my first job. Very first job out of high school.
Johnny Kovacs played the boy.
That's right.
The Family Tree.
But
James Spader and Martin Hewitt.
Right. But listen, I played the James Spader part.
You played the James Spader part.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I did the pilot before you did the series. And what happened was, this is what you don't know. I did a pilot. It was my first pilot. And it was that pilot with a completely different cast.
Okay.
And the pilot did not get picked up until you did The Family Tree. Right?
Yeah.
Do we have a picture of that, William?
Yeah. With me and James Spader and Martin Hewitt and Ann Archer and Frank Converse and Johnny Kovacs,
and you got to do the series. But what you didn't know in all those years we worked together was I did the original pilot of that, and it got shelved and recast, and you guys did the series. And James Spader, I spent a lifetime competing against that guy, and I lost at every turn, including then. He was my nemesis. You know that one that you always see at every test deal? James Spader was Why?
Totally. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But anyway,
Wow.
so I thought you'd like that. So
That is fun. That's a fun story.
okay, so you grow up in this business. You from the time you're young, you get married. You and your husband Gilder, and I remember when you guys met. I remember when you were dating him.
I know.
You guys are just celebrating your 23rd wedding anniversary, and you have 2 children.
Yes, yeah.
And you've had this remarkable, I mean, crazy successful career. And you were a child actor. How did you do that? How did you escape all those paths that lead to, what child actors they say become?
Right. I mean, I really do attribute so much of that to my parents. Both of my parents are actors. My mother was a manager and an acting teacher, and her logo was Diane Hill Hardin's Young Actor Space, The Joy of Acting. So she was really invested in the joy of acting. And my dad was really, he's a character actor. Jerry Hardin's his name. He's been in a million things. And he was really working all the time as an actor. And my mother was really my coach and my set mom. And I just think that because they were not living through me, but instead trying to teach me the craft of acting. And really the thing that was most important in my family was being an artist. I mean, that was the thing that was revered. It wasn't revered to be famous. It wasn't revered to be, it was revered to be good at what you did, to be professional, to show up the way that, you'd been hired to show up, to know your lines, to really get inside the character and really learn the craft. So I really rely on that. And I still to this day, I think that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing that gives me the most joy. And it's the thing that has driven me all the way through and continues to expand into all the other areas that I, have expanded into creatively. So yeah, I think that's the key. It's like,
you have done it. Dana Catherine says, I absolutely adore Melora. Such amazing talent at her craft. And you do them all. You are truly the definition of the triple threat. and the saddest thing, and we're going to talk more about this too, is that Broadway, and I know you've played Broadway, but I'm talking about Broadway, like the meat and potatoes, the nuts and bolts of Broadway. Those people, they don't know it as much. You are, I think you're the best kept secret, quite frankly, in New York City. I really do.
Well, I will tell you that when I went to New York to sing and dance for the producer for Chicago, I definitely was, he took me aside and he said, after I sang and danced, he was like, I need to talk to you. Like, he took me to the window, like, it was just me and the musical director and the choreographer and like the dance captain and him. And it was just, he just took me aside and he said, I just want to know where you've been.
Yeah.
Where have you been doing all that? How can you dance like that? How can you sing like that?
How do you sing like that? Right.
And I guess my answer really was that, I was just, I don't know, I was working so much as a TV actor and a film actor that I really didn't, and we were living in Los Angeles, not in New York. I'm sure if I'd been a New York kid, I probably would have edged more that way, but
the better answer though, although that's true. And I think you were being nice, but the truth is I was just making far much more money in film and television. I don't need New York.
Right. But the difference between like my family and your family, Patrick, is that I'm the only one in my family that can even carry a tune. I mean, like nobody they can't even carry a tune. They're just not musical. There's not, none of that. Right. So I got some like weird thing that came through my grandfathers, I think, to be able to sing the way I do. And I think that in that regard, so again, like the real focus in my family was about being an artist. And I was a very serious artist. I was very serious. And actually for me, I really was. And in fact, I looked back like maybe a year ago, someone sent me this interview that I'd done when I was playing Baby and Dirty Dancing with You. Oh my God. I was just like, God, you're so freaking serious. There I was like, 18 years old or whatever. And I'm like, God, can't you just like crack a smile or something? But I remember seeing Les Mis on Broadway when I was in college. When it first came to Broadway. And I remember just sitting on the edge of my seat and just going, oh my God, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that, because it was this tragedy, but it was a musical.
Yeah.
I always thought musicals were like popcorn and bubble gums and rainbows. And now, of course, all I want to do is popcorn and bubble gums. Well, that's not true, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't value the fun of like just the joy, the pure joy of musical theater and comedy even back then.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, that's the other thing, because you're tremendously funny too. I mean, well, I want to talk about Dirty Dancing. Okay. So in 1987, there we are.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we're pretty.
Look at that. I mean, that is as pretty can be. And the amazing thing is that my hair was actually the color it is now. It was just a bad dye job. I just painted it. It
looks beautiful both ways.
Oh, thank you. But that show, okay. So for you, you know, being the only singer in your house, I was the only guy who could throw a football in my house. I mean, my brothers literally both have 2 left feet and are, you know, they could all sing, but nobody was an athlete. So that was my outlet.
Yeah.
But dancing, I didn't have any dance training. When I did that show, I went into hardcore class with Kenny Ortega himself and all of his assistants.
Yeah.
Michael Peters. Yeah. I was an athlete and I didn't have dance training. And the irony for you is, and I'll never forget this, was that you were this trained dancer who loved dance and wanted to be, like you said, a prima ballerina and all that. And you play a part that you're not allowed to dance.
I know. It was so awful. It was so awful.
I remember you so frustrated.
It was so frustrating. Yes, it was. And they did let me do that kick in the opening credits. Kenny let me do that big kick where my skirt and they freeze with my kick up. And I'm like, oh, thank God, at least I'm one like you.
You were awesome to work with. For the people that don't know about Dirty Dancing, about the kind of, you know, New York dance instructor who goes up to the Catskills, and you played the Jennifer Grey part, and I got to play the Patrick Swayze part, having not danced and worked my tail off. But I prepared for you, and it is for you, a nice little montage of that show that was on CBS. So this is Melora Hardin and me with the bad colored hair in Dirty Dancing. Take a look.
I've been waiting for so long now. I finally found someone to stand by me.
What, are you running away from home or something?
I wanted to just take a walk, okay?
Does your old man know you're out here all alone?
I suppose you think I'm too young to take a walk without reporting in?
Look, you better get back in the car.
Why? You know, I'm fine. I'm just trying to enjoy myself out here, alone with the nature.
This isn't nature. This is a deserted back road. It's snakes and bears.
Come on. Yeah, I'm a big girl.
So I've noticed.
I don't need to hear this. I've got a date.
With him? Again? What is this?
It's none of your business. And I've got to get dressed.
Look, just tell me something. What do you see in this guy? Huh? Is it just because he writes books?
It's his mind. It's everything. You're jealous, aren't you?
Jealous?
Yes, you
Jealous?
are. Yeah,
Of him?
you are. You're jealous.
Yeah, right. The guy, he looks like he breeds poodles. Hey, baby.
You had to do it, didn't you?
Do what?
Some pretty girl comes up here, right? Any pretty girl, and you think she's your territory, right? No matter who else is interested in her.
Would you hold on a
It's
minute?
just another notch in your headboard, isn't it?
Mr. Kellerman, how are you?
Well, what are you doing?
Recuperating.
Johnny, you're so brave.
Oh, that shock, babe. Ha! Has such teeth, dear. Yeah. Eve. And he shows them.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I have to say that first like dance number we did together by the car.
Yeah.
When you kind of like come in, I totally got chills just now watching that. When like you just like came in and like my head on your shoulder. Oh my God, it was so beautiful.
And do you have any idea how much class I had to go to just to do that?
No, but look at how smooth you look.
Yeah, yeah. It was like the hours sweating. I mean, and you know, and with the best teachers. I mean, Kenny working with me.
Oh
I remember, I talk about this all the time. You know, when I dance to this day, I've got about 10 stock moves that I still use, and they pay off great in every show. But one of them is James Brown. I can do that with and I remember when Kenny taught me how to do that thing with my feet, like I was skating, right? And I remember him saying, I've never broken this down before.
But also, I remember you practicing that constantly. You were doing that with your feet constantly between shots and stuff.
To this day.
I didn't even remember that they gave me that little dance number that you put in there. Like, you know, oh my God, that was
that was I think as a result of you. I mean, you were very frustrated, and rightfully so, that you didn't get to dance because you were really trained. And I think they finally go, we got to give her something to do. Let her sit for a solo spot. That was a wonderful, you know, you look back on things, and it was too bad it was so short-lived. You know, I am convinced, and I've spoken to Kenny over the years about this, that, you know, what he did in the movie, and they were great, and the movie was great and stuff, but he actually, if you look at the work of those 13, I think it was 13 episodes, he got to elaborate on much more than he even had done in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he did some great choreography work, and even got his first directorial chance too. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. I know. He's such a dreamboat. You know, we did the Rocky Horror Picture Show live at the Wiltern a couple years ago for the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I played.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Oh. I had to put my tap shoes on, which has been a long time since I put my tap shoes on.
So you still take class, right? You still take
I do. I still take class. I still take jazz class. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I've been taking some Zoom classes over COVID over Zoom. Mm-hmm. And I took a live class today with a mask. And I actually hurt my hamstring dancing on cement in my back.
That's not good.
Because you can't really.
You know, Melissa will give you a private over Zoom. She'll give you a private.
God,
she'll take you through a ballet bar too. She's pretty good. We have.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Okay.
So again, like I said earlier, you are this triple threat. You are this really, truly unknown quantity in terms of New York, and it is because you've had this very successful television film career, but your experiences too, right? Les Mis and Chicago and New York.
Mm-hmm. Les Mis I did at the Hollywood Bowl.
The Hollywood Bowl. Okay, so all right, then tell me about Chicago. What was it like doing your first Broadway show?
Yeah, it was basically just, my mom said I look like, you know, like I just was walking on clouds. I mean, 8 times a week, singing, dancing, and acting, 3 things that I've not only just loved, but have trained my whole life to do. It was just dreamy. You know, I did all the original Fosse choreography, you know, singing all those songs and just playing that character. And it just was, I mean, I liked it so much, Patrick, that I got food poisoning. On my day off, which was a Wednesday. We had our days off were on Wednesdays because we went up on Mondays. Anyway, I got food poisoning. I went into a restaurant, I got food poisoning. And I woke up, you know, Thursday. I basically didn't sleep all Wednesday night, you know, throwing my guts up. And woke up Thursday and I called the stage manager and I said, look, I have terrible food poisoning. I'm weak. I can barely, you know, I'm drinking water, you know, but if I can get out of this bed and I can do the show without vomiting on the audience or myself. Oh, there goes my little light. I'm coming in and I'm doing the show. And he's like, you don't have to, you know, we've got the understudy can do it. And I'm like, no, I'm coming in. And I did.
That's a theater pro.
Not the most joyful show I've ever performed.
But the show goes on, and that's the old school. You know, that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
You do the show.
You do the
I've
show.
done-
But the other thing is, I wasn't doing it because I felt like I had to do it. I didn't want to miss 1 second.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to miss 1 second. And they asked me to extend, and I would have. It's just that the office wanted me back, and it was unfortunate that I couldn't extend because I would have loved to have done that. But
well, you will do another one. I want to show a clip of you singing. I think this is in your backyard.
Oh, right.
From Tangled. So
yes.
that clip?
Okay. Disney asked us to do during COVID. They said, can you do your favorite, your favorite Disney song? So.
Well, here it is. Melora Hardin in her backyard, Disney.
Soon, but not yet. Shh, trust me, pet. Mother knows best. Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. It's a scary world out there. Mother knows best. One way or another, something will go wrong, I swear. Ruffians, thugs, poison ivy, quicksand, cannibals and snakes. The plague, yes. Also large bugs, men with pointy teeth, and a stop no more. You'll just upset me. Mother's right here. Mother will protect you. Darling, here's what I suggest. Skip the drama. Stay with Mama. Mama knows best.
You ham bone. I love you. I have a friend, Susan Egan. She was on the show. And Disney did it with her too. They had her do the song that she did from Hercules, the tune, da 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 da. I don't forget the tune, but it's a great song. They had to do the same thing in her house. It was great.
It was super fun. It was super fun to do, and got to just play and choreograph it, and sung it live. So there it is. It's pretty fun.
So we play a game on this show.
Okay.
And here's.
And Family Feud, because I did Family Feud with my co-stars on the Bold Type, and I am never doing another game show again.
Oh, yeah? Well,
never again.
Elizabeth says, my resident newly 9-year-old Disney expert approves.
Oh, that's so cute.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. That's good.
So the name of this game, it's called Remember the Lyric.
Oh, God.
And and the way this works is, I'll explain it to you. Right. I come up with a song from a show you sang, from a song you sang.
Oh,
I will sing the first lyric. I will point at you, and hopefully you'll come back. If you don't, it'll become a solo. Don't worry, I know it all. No, I don't. But it's all in fun. So there's the title. It's called Remember the Lyric. This is a song you sang from a show you sang, and it goes like this. I'm going to try to pick a good key. I dreamed a dream in time gone by,
when hope was high and life worth living.
I dreamed that love would never die.
I dreamed that God would be forgiving.
Great, perfect. That's all we're going to do.
Then I was young and unafraid, and dreams were made
and used and wasted.
There was no ransom to be paid, no song unsung, no wine untasted. And then you go, but the tigers come at night.
It isn't Remember the whole song, it's just a lyric.
Yeah. Very good. I'm impressed.
Look at you remembering all those songs. Good. Yeah. By the way, I've always wanted to play Fantine. They just keep looking in the casting.
I think a long wig would help.
Yes, exactly. You got to work with another member of my family. You did a pilot or a series actually for my brother Sean. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, I have to say, we're talking about Sean Cassidy. And Sean was a giant star when I was a teenager.
Oh,
he was. He was a giant pop star.
Were you a fan?
and he was in all the like beat whatever
Tiger Beat.
Thank you. Well, I definitely had a bit of a crush. Yes, I definitely had a bit of a crush. Like just how cute he was, and just I think I may have even had a poster of him at one point in my life when I was like 12 or 13 or something.
But that went by the wayside when you met me, right?
Of course,
Okay.
yes, of course. But Sean, I have to say, Sean he was just a joy to work with. You know, Sean is one of those people like you and everyone in your family. I'm friends with everyone in your family. I mean, like Ryan and your little brother.
You ever work with my mother?
Your mother worked on Cover Me on Sean's show.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Your mom and I liked each other so much that we went out to lunch on our day off. Like we really, and she came to my Christmas party quite a few times. Like she really, with her crazy husband.
Yeah, that's Marty. That's how he's referred to, crazy husband.
Woo! But she is just a dreamboat. But everybody in your family, they're just, you know, and working with Sean, like just very grounded people, like not, you know, and just for all the success and all the fame and all the, you know, history and like, you know, the Hollywood sort of iconic stuff that you guys have, you know, come from. It's really quite amazing that just how just what good people you all are, you know. And Sean was just he's so talented. He's such a talented writer. And you wouldn't expect that this pop star would have this dark side to him, this pretty dark like writer in him that is just was so delicious. I mean, the character I played in Cover Me was so fun because it's the true life of an FBI family. So it was basically like we got to play characters all the time, you know, go undercover as these other characters. And he wrote me some incredible stuff, just some great fun, really great stuff. So yeah, Sean and I are still friends, and I, you know, I'm friends with Ryan. And I met David.
He's watching. I think he's watching. He had his daughter Megan. He says, "I got to tune in to see." You know, the truth is,
I miss you.
The truth is, we just all have a crush on you. We just all do.
All the casting voice? Oh, I like that. That's very good. That could carry me a long time. I'm blushing.
Okay, so tell me about the what so many people know you from is The Office. Tell me about that experience. Now you're gonna hate me for this, but I've never seen The Office.
I don't hate you for that. It's refreshing.
It is. I mean, I know how great it is. I know it started out in London, right, with Ricky Gervais, right? Wasn't it that the first Office? And then it came over here, and Steve. Okay.
Right, Daniels. Yep. Started a new version of it. Right.
So you done this show that was ridiculously successful. Yeah. Tell me what that whole experience and how was it, and fun and.
Yeah, I mean, mostly, I mean, yes, it was a great experience. However, you know, I think The Office was literally like my 13th pilot. So I'm kind of like, you know, like Tom Selleck. I think Magnum PI was like his 11th pilot. George Clooney, I think.
Yeah. I'm in that category too. I used to talk about this with George. I think I've done 9 or 10.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing. I know.
So it's when you've done that many pilots that have been short-lived, like Dirty Dancing was, or you know, where they've run for a short time, or then they've, you know, they've just been canceled right away, or you know, which was really my experience. I mean, I'd been on a series at that point. The longest running series I'd been on was 2 years, and I think it was Second Family Tree. And I'd been guest starred on everything, you know, but I just hadn't been. So when The Office kind of happened and then kind of kept happening, I didn't believe it. I was the last cast member to have any sense that was a real thing. The thing that made me believe that we were a hit was when we won our SAG award for Best Ensemble. And I had to carry around that damn trophy all night. And I have to tell you, that thing is on a marble base that, I'm not kidding, is this big around and this tall. And it's a bronze sculpture. So I carried that around all night long. And everyone's like, oh my God, you won, congratulations, right? You're talking, you're holding it like this all night because you're like so excited to have it down on, and you can't like have it down here swinging. So the next morning I literally woke up and I could not lift my arm. I was like, I said, it was so And I needed being a dancer, I needed physical proof. and that was the physical proof that we were a success. And now with streaming, it's just ridiculous. We're more successful now. I have fans that are 8 years, 9 years old. I'm not sure why people would let their 9-year-old.
Or they let them watch that cartoon Family Guy. Why not?
That's right. And I have fans that are in their 60s, so I have fans that just across the board. And I would say, even more, the show is more famous than it was even when we were on the air.
What was it like working with Steve?
It was great. Sometimes you work with people where you get on screen and regardless of your personal relationship with them, because you don't always jive with the people you're working with, but then sometimes you can get on screen with somebody and it can really be amazing. Like you can love them off screen and it can be shit. And then you can hate them off screen and it can be amazing, or it can be you're amazing off screen, amazing on screen. But one of the great things about Steve was that I really felt like he made room for me to do my thing. Sometimes you'll get in a scene with somebody, and especially with comedy, where you're trying out a lot of stuff in rehearsals in the first few takes. And then, you'll find sometimes when you're working with not very good actors, they'll start sort of doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I used to imitate you all the time. I remember. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
but what's so great about Steve and working with really great actors is that when you throw the ball, first of all, you can throw the ball one time, you can throw it this way and they'll catch it. And then the next time you can throw it like that and they'll catch it, and you can throw it like that. And they're ready. They're not wanting you to do it the same way every time. They're making space for it to be fresh and new and different. And and just there's a lot of room. I felt like when we were working together, there was always a lot of room for me to bring whatever I was going to bring, and for him to bring whatever he was going to bring. And there was just this sort of mutual respect and play that happened there.
To me, that's the best relationship you can have with a co-star. I mean, that's the deal, that you trust them to throw the ball and that you catch it and that you can throw it back, that you trust them to play catch.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Well, we have a little clip that we want to show of you and Steve, and so take a look. This is from The Office, Malora Hardin.
Okay.
What's amazing is that dance move. I taught you that dance move in Dirty Dancing. Well, the same thing.
What I was going to say is yet another scene where I had to pretend I couldn't dance. I tried to. Well, I didn't have to pretend I couldn't dance, but I just wanted to be a little off the beat. If you'll notice, when I set my thighs, it's just a little too late. It's just a little wrong, and
it's then funny though.
I came out of improv, taking John's hand and
just even having your back to the audience when you start. It's funny. Oh gosh, it's just what a great how long did you end up doing the show? How long was that?
Well, I guess they did it for, I don't even know. They did it for 8 years, and I was on it for 6 or something. They did it 2 years longer than I did it or something. But it was as soon as Steve left, I was no longer really on it. I came back as a guest star in the finale season, which I don't remember what.
And it launched all the careers of all those guys, didn't it? And the girls. I mean, it launched a lot of careers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't watch this. I just seem to stay away from the shows that really don't really mean anything. They just become huge hits and make people stars. Tell me about, well, first of all, how is your family, your 2 children, and how are you and Gildert during this whole pandemic? I know you guys, I've spoken to many people, my friends in Los Angeles and my friends in New York, and how they've been faring. And it's been a very different experience than what we here in Tennessee have been going through.
Oh, really?
Well, only in the sense that, my friends in New York, when this thing happened and that lockdown came, they were traumatized.
Yeah. I think
it was such a shutdown.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles, albeit it's much bigger, much the same. What has it been like for you guys?
Well, for me, gosh, we had to, the series that I'm on right now called The Bold Type, we film it in Montreal, Canada. So it literally was like on a Saturday. It was a Friday actually, and they called and said, I went home from work. They had asked me to stay home to miss my daughter's. I was going to fly back to LA to see my daughter's variety show, talent show at school, and then fly back for working on Tuesday. And they had said, because of this whole thing that's happening, this like COVID thing, we should probably, ask you to stay this weekend. So I was like, okay. And that was Friday, and I was kind of bummed, but I understood. And I was like, okay, well, that's a bummer. But I went home, and then I got a call like 2 hours later saying, actually, we're shutting down production. Universal's just called. Production's shut down. You need to go home. We're not. So I got on a plane literally the next day. I spent my we bought a place there, and I had to clean up my whole place, which I rent out when I'm not there. So I worked, I don't even know, 16 hours straight to kind of put everything down in the basement, pack, and get on a plane that next night. And so yeah, it was weird. And I think I had more kind of upset about the fact that I had a daughter who was graduating high school, and she's been at the same school since kindergarten,
and couldn't have that experience.
She couldn't have, she had no graduation party, no parties at all. They had been raising money for a trip to go to Costa Rica for over a year. None of that happened. It just was like, God. And then I just really felt for the graduates. I felt for the high school graduates. I felt for the, university graduates. I guess I just was so kind of tied up in that I was more worried as a mom. For me, it was like, we have a beautiful house, and, I kind of really enjoyed all the time I was getting with my kids and with my husband and with my animals and my yard and trying to garden. And, I just tried to use that time, but in a way that's my life. My life is it's so irregular. I think for people that have a real routine to their lives where they can count on their June family vacation, and they can count on their, that just has never been my life. I mean,
not since you were sick. You picked show business. Which we know isn't typical.
It is just, it is certainly not reliable. We're on one day and off another day. And, my dad used to always make a joke, like, you want to get a really great part, then buy a non-refundable plane ticket to Europe.
It's so true. Oh gosh.
Well, I guess we're doing fine. And in all of that, I would say we're probably the luckiest, demographic in a weird way to understand what it feels like to have everything and nothing. We go from high highs to low lows in our business all the time. I was also thinking, as I was getting ready, we also have another thing up on everybody else during COVID, which is we understand a frame line.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You're never going to catch an actor getting up without their pants on a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we understand about a frame line. We
know how to hit marks and stay there if we have to. Yes. Yeah. That's really good. I'm going to think about that maybe all night, maybe tomorrow too. You are amazing. Tell us about the project that you're working on as a director, right?
Yes. Oh, that's nice of you to bring that up. I'm actually making a documentary. It's a documentary series called Thunder Hunter and Me. And it's a story that sort of fell into my lap, and I'm in it. I'm directing it, but I'm also in it. It's a story about serendipity. It's about healing. It's about real life magic and what it really takes to sort of walk through trauma. And it's about women lifting women up and holding one another, and about friendship, and about the hard work of really transforming trauma, and sort of, getting her, my subject, getting her life back, and getting her, finding her own way through this trauma that has kind of kept her frozen for so many years in some ways. So it's quite extraordinary. I think it's sort of the next part of the conversation of the Me Too movement. in the sense that it's really not, there's no focus on the perpetrator at all. It's all focused on the healing. It's focused on what we can do as people and as friends. And I just hope more than anything that it will be inspiring for people to look at that, because I think it's not just women that need this, it's men too. And I think that universally people have had trauma in their life and they've had moments of feeling stuck. And I feel like I'm hoping it will be an inspiration for people to go, you know what, if she can do that, I can do that. And I'm going to do it my way, because we really do it our way. It's just very much unique and special to us based on our serendipitous connection through Thunder, which was the show that you mentioned earlier that I was on when I was 10. So it's an interesting and kind of varied and wonderful, and I hope inspiring journey that I hope everybody will see it. Hopefully next year. I'm hoping it'll be streaming somewhere next year. That's the plan. I am so proud to call you a friend. You are so amazing, and I'm so proud of you and just everything you've done and accomplished in your life. You're really somebody to look up to in so many ways, Melora. Not just as a talent and all that, which is extraordinary, but just your personal life and what you've done with yourself. It's really it's a testament to you and your parents, and the good living and all those pilots, all those pilots. That's right. And all the dirty dancing we did. And together. All the dirty dancing. I love you. I'm going to ask you to come here. And okay. I'm going to ask you to come here and do something. I'll figure it out, but I'm going to get you here. You're going to come do something will you come do something for Studio Tenn if I ask you? Oh my God, it'd be so fun. I would die. Yeah. We play one final game on this show. Okay. Very simple game. With you, I get a little nervous with this game, and you'll see why. Oh my God. The name of this game is called You Become the Host. Okay. For one question. Okay. You get to ask yes, just one. That's all it's all my nervous system could take. You get to ask me one question, any question you want, and I will do my best not to lie. No, I'll tell the truth. I'm transparent. Well, see, I am a good enough friend of yours that I would never ask you any question that you would have to lie. Okay. Whatever you want. Go ahead. If I'm going to ask you a question that you're going to lie at, that's going to be off camera. Yes, exactly. Okay. Gosh. Okay. Oh. Well, what was it like growing up with such incredibly famous parents? I say it in my act. I say it in my day. It was normal. It was as normal because I didn't know anything else. It seemed normal to me. I thought everybody was in show business, and in my case, they were. You know, there was not one person. I mean, it's the weird thing about that as a whole for me is that and I see it in my children watching their dad, their mother, their grandparents, their uncles, all that. You see it. I see it in my nieces and my nephews looking at all of us. You literally think that everybody does this. It just seems the right thing to do. You know, I think it's like anybody else having a parent that's like, you know, in contracting, or a parent that's involved in the restaurant business. You sort of go into that business because that's what you're exposed to. Right. You know, and I've said this before a lot. I wasn't aware of just all the, you know, perks that I got because I was David Cassidy or Sean Cassidy's younger brother or Shirley Jones's son. I just thought, oh, everybody gets this kind of attention. You know, it's just the way it is. And it wasn't until I started to really understand when I became an actor myself, and then also seeing my mother. I told this on the last show. I was talking with Michael Riedel, the columnist and critic, about when I realized my mother was famous. And it wasn't until I was like 40. I knew she was famous in the sense that she made a living. She was an Academy Award winner, all that stuff. But there was that one moment when I saw her documentary, you know, her biography, A&E, that I realized, oh, now I see what everybody sees. She was no longer just mom. Yeah, this iconic, charismatic thing that I saw. Oh, now I get it. I get it now. But it's a weird thing from the child's perspective when you realize, oh, I see you the way the rest of the world sees you. You're not just my mother. Right. Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah. Cause my children have kind of helped me even with, the sort of the part of celebrity that can be uncomfortable, which is, people coming up to you when you're in the middle of, something,
With
like
your family.
and I were just away for, 2 nights by ourselves for the first time in whatever it's been, 9 months. We have no time alone ever in the house. And we went away to celebrate our anniversary, and I mean, out of the blue, we were like at the ocean and looking at and this guy came up and said, and just like with his mask on and so close to my face, like leaning in, and I didn't have my mask on because I was like, and he just was like, I'm so excited. Are you Melora Hardin? And he was like, I'm so excited. My friend is fangirling, and can we get a picture? And I'm like, I mean, I'd have to put my mask on, and his friend was like standing way over there. I'm like, you want me to get up from my table and like go take a picture with my mask?
No, basically that's exactly what they want to do.
That was what they wanted. And it was so like, and I thought and I said to Gildert, I was like, how did they even see me? Like, where were they? Like, how did they, but my children have been the compass of like how to deal with that, especially my younger daughter, who kind of said to me once when she was really little, like, Mom, do you not like it? Do you not like being famous? And I was like, ooh, do I seem like I don't like it? And she's like, sometimes. And I said, okay, well, I need to adjust that then. And I need to work on that. And so it is restraining the children's perspective of what that is,
And you're right. They give you, they do give you a grounding. My mom, I'll never forget my mother saying to me, because my mother was always so gracious, out at a dinner table, and people would come up at dinner table all the time. She felt like it was a responsibility. She said that from the minute she left the house, she knew she was on display. And it was, Now, I'm not saying when she hit 70 or 75 where she started saying, no, I'm not Florence Henderson. I'm Shirley Jones. I love you. I adore you. I thank you so much for doing the show.
Oh, you're so great, Patrick, and you're so great at this. Not everybody is good at this. Who's their own like celebrity in their own right, which you are. Who can actually be interested and do all the work that you obviously did to like put together the montage and everything. It's just so sweet, and that's such a generous act, and you're a very generous host, and it makes it a lot.
It's easy with you. You give my love to Gildert. Give my love to your children. I will.
A huge smooch for me. Tell her that I adore her, and your boys who won't remember me at all. But anyway,
we'll reconnect. I love you. Take care of yourself. Stay healthy and safe. Okay.
Thank you. You too. Okay.
Melora Hardin, lucky to have her. Lucky to be her friend. I feel so blessed. That's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much. Remember, we make shows, but right now we can't make shows. Therefore, we can't sell tickets. So therefore, we get donations to keep this show going. We have so much coming up in the future. I want to talk all about it. Next Monday night, we have our special Studio Tenn Talks Thanksgiving show. That is my entire family. Yes, my mother, Shirley Jones, is going to be on that show. And it's a special show because I'm going to celebrate with Melissa's family. I'm going to celebrate with my family. We're going to celebrate Thanksgiving in different states across the country via Zoom. Then on December 7th, we are having our Studio Tenn Talks recital show. Now, during the pandemic, we started this education program, and we have a flurry of students that I'm teaching personally, acting and singing, that Casey Hebel, who's our education director, who's also teaching singing, and my wife Melissa is teaching dance. Well, those students that we're teaching privately they've submitted videos of their work, and we're going to have them all on the show, and we're going to introduce the videos. You're going to see some incredible talent. That's on December 7th. And then on December 17th, we are doing another fundraiser. It's a Tennessee Christmas. We have people from the Nashville Ballet performing. We have people from the Children's Theater performing. We have only Tennessee talent appearing in this thing. I will, as we get closer, I'll tell you who it is. We have some incredible performers. It is going to be a lovely evening of Tennessee songs, Christmas, holidays. You're not going to want to miss that. And then finally on December 21st, Studio Tenn and the Pajama Cast Party, led by my friend Jim Caruso. We are combining the two shows. If you haven't seen his show, the Pajama Cast Party, look for it on Zoom, or not on Zoom, look for it on social media, on Facebook. It's on YouTube. We are getting the two shows together. He has a million stars he brings on. Us, we get together, we create magic. That's what we got going for the rest of this year. And of course, the Fall Barrel Bash, there you see it. Tickets are still available. Get your favorite bourbon, drink during Thanksgiving, and then therefore into Christmas. It's an incredible thing. We have incredible stuff. So happy that you could all join us tonight. My goodbye song tonight is, let's see, So Long, Farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, Good Night, Good Night. Good night.